And I don't have to kiss your butt, 'cause my mama loves me no matter what. And I won't have to kiss your butt, 'cause my mama wants me no matter what. Yeah. I'm talking to my brother. I am singing to my sister. I am singing to my brother, talking to my sister, and I'm saying what it was said. 'Cause I knew when I said it was what it was. 'Cause I looked into my mirror and found the world just goes around, and I looked into his eyes and saw what I had seen before. But I don't have to kiss your butt, 'cause my mama loves me no matter what. And I won't have to kiss your butt, 'cause my mama wants me no matter what.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Anyone who decides to join or watch these, if you have been watching these, if you notice, this has already happened multiple times in reading these news articles. Other people on social media who cover like politics, news, and whatnot. I have reported on things before they do. So like I don't. It's almost like you know like if you've seen my video essay. Wasn't that a lot better? The video essay, that video essay was pretty cool. A lot better than these live streams, but it's almost like I'm showing you that, and by example that doing this is low energy. Low skill effort. It's just literally all I'm doing is reading articles to you in these live streams, and if you're following this, you're probably going to hear about things long before a lot of the other people talk about them, because that's all they're doing. They're not journalists. They're just taking what real journalists have done and making YouTube videos about them, and that's all this is. But like I said, my reason for wanting to do this is because it doesn't seem like people want to read news articles. Like I said before, you could I can take the news article links and post them up anywhere on my social media. Vast majority of people will not read them, and but if I do a screen recording where the AI voice reads the article out loud and post that on any of my social medias, they'll actually watch that. They'll pay attention to that. But this is one of the issues I find with social media is I don't know, if you just read your news from like a plethora of different sources every morning, you would know what's going on long before any of the people on social media would report it. I don't know. I guess that's how people want to consume their media, is they want to see their favorite person on social media tell it to them or read it to them for them. I guess reading literacy is just way down. And I don't know what you do about that. Oh, and Lothier brought this up. I do have this. I don't think the mic will capture this. I have to scoot far back. In my experience, damn it, I didn't take my pain meds today. My shoulder is fucking killing me. I gotta try to get this chair back on the fucking, damn it, there. I should have taken my pain meds. Fuck. Anyway, in my experience of the didgeridoo, the mics don't pick up all the sound variations. You have to get a special mic meant for heavy bass lines. But let's get into reading the articles. Maybe I will end up taking my pain meds today after I'm done with this because my shoulder is already fucking killing me. So, Washington Post, why this shutdown is different and shows signs of lasting. I mean, you don't understand what's going on with the shutdown, you live under a rock. Because this has been talked about to death. This is kind of an update, so I don't know why an update article is a 9-minute read. In 1995, it was about spending cuts. In 2013, it was about healthcare plan. In 2018, it was about a Mexican border wall. This government shut down in large measure about something very different. The two parties rage at each other and their battle over who will run Washington for the next 3 years. That is not what it's about. Like, I don't know how many times we have to go over this. Okay, so the Republicans want to cut basically like all these government organizations and spending and stuff. And as a result of that, it will damage the SSA, so people receiving disability, veterans pay, SSI, supplemental security income. It will also could impact people receiving retirement income. It'll affect food stamps, SNAP benefits, vision card, whatever it is. Could affect WIC. It could affect HUD housing. In fact, I think it's already been the case. So that's very detrimental to people who need housing. And the Democrats are basically saying, like, look, we're not going to do this $6 trillion tax plan thingy-majiggy for the top 1%, which will bankrupt America unless you agree that there's something in the budget that will bring a continuation to the ACA, which, whether you get the ACA or not, you depend on because insurance companies take from it to lower the cost of your insurance premiums, as well as hospitals take from it to ensure that no matter what, you can go to the hospital, particularly during an emergency. As a result of this, many hospitals have already closed down. There are hospitals that have shut down parts of like certain wards, like maternity wards are the first to go, which is really, really bad, because this is making it very, very difficult for people who are like women who are giving birth to be able to get to a hospital where they can do that and get natal care. And so the Democrats are saying, we're not going to sign it unless you agree that you're not going to take away the ACA and ensure that people's healthcare premiums are not going up, as well as their out-of-pocket expenses. That we try to do something to keep the ACA intact, so to keep people's healthcare costs low. A big fix to that would be is if we established a single-payer tax system for healthcare, and then we wouldn't have to worry about health insurance premiums ever again. But a lot of people are very, very scared of that. And I'm not sure why, because they do it in a lot of other countries, and they haven't just like erupted in some kind of authoritarian thing. So I don't know why we don't do it here, and it works elsewhere. The people, I don't know, it's really weird. The people who look at it elsewhere, they tend to not like to think of it as socialism. They tend to think of it as social safety nets or welfare stuff. And it's like if you need to change the name to think of it differently, then do that. Like it's a means of taking care of your community. Okay, like that's what it is. Like, yes, it's socialism, but if for some reason that word by itself turned you off, and you need to think of it as taking care of your community, okay, fine, it's taking care of your community. It's social welfare programs, it's social safety nets, it's like whatever. We need to be doing it. Like, we're the only country at this point, really, other than one other, that doesn't do it. And it's just, it's going to get to a point where it's like the dentistry. Like, who goes to who can afford to go to a dentist these days? It's like dentistry in America is dead. Nobody can afford that, and that's where healthcare is going to go if we continue down this road. It will lead to only people who are wealthy enough will be able to get any kind of health care at all, and to the rest of us, just best wishes and good luck. And people are saying, oh yeah, I want that. That sounds like a good idea. And I don't understand the rationale behind that. I don't understand that. I don't know how in their head they go, that sounds like a really good idea, but somehow they arrive at that conclusion. This government shutdown in large around Washington, okay, that makes it far less predictable and potentially much harder to resolve, according to people on both sides. This is much, much different, said former Congresswoman Vin. Yeah, it's not about health care. It is about health care, and of course a Republican would say that because, they're all over Trump's nuts. The Republican Party has just become this mill of propaganda. Like, even Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert are being like, no, this is crazy. And it's wild to see Bobo and Marjorie Taylor Greene switch sides on this issue. It's not about any specific issue. It's about two parties whose base no longer believes they can afford to lose without losing their national standing. That's what I think is at stake here. This just sounds like right-wing propaganda. Most immediately, the shutdown is over. Democratic demands that Congress extend health care subsidies, and the Republican response that Congress first must pass stopgap spending measures. But looming behind those questions are two groups of activists fighting a pitched battle to determine the country's broader path. And the thing is like, the Republicans, they could open the government and come to the table and talk to Democrats. They're still there, and they refuse to do it. They're just like, nope, we don't want to. And they also don't want to swear in the new Democrat because they don't want the Epstein files. Like, this is stupid. The MAGA movement dominates the Republican Party totally. The progressives don't dominate the Democrat Party. That's true, totally. But they are working on it. Yeah, I don't know that we're getting much headway on that. There's not a lot of democratic socialists in office. There's what? You have Bernie Sanders, AOC. I think those are the only two, isn't it? The only two Democratic socialists is Bernie Sanders and AOC. We are not drowning in Democratic socialists or even social democrats. Most of them are neoliberals. It's bottom line. There was a path to compromise in the past today that is missing in the psyche of the people on both sides of the debate. That is evident in the way the two parties have approached the standoff. Democratic leaders were determined to block Republicans' next spending bill even before they had settled on specific demands. President Donald Trump has responded by freezing projects and firing workers, seeking to pressure Democrats in ways unrelated to the shutdown. Previous closures ended when swing voters made it clear whom they blamed for the dispute, promoting one party to cave for fear of the political consequences. Today, the number of such swing voters has shrunk, while the party's hardcore bases are more energized than ever, ready to revolt against the potential deal as an unacceptable capitulation. For many Democrats, this fight is about standing up to an authoritarian president who is ignoring the Constitution and seeking near dictatorial power. For Trump's team, it is about establishing the president's right to full control of the executive branch and the federal spending. And see, if you are a pro-Constitution, right-wing, Constitution, don't tread on me, blah, 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 it doesn't make sense to support a president who's trying to take full control of the executive branch, because it specifically outlines, and that was outlined by the founders of the country, that they didn't want that. They didn't want all the power seceded to the executive branch, that they wanted the executive, judicial, and legislative branch to be equal in power, so that you didn't have all the power consolidated into one hand, because that creates a dictator. That's why they didn't want to do that. And I don't know how you can be conservative for the founders, for the Constitution, and then support that, because that's antithetical to supporting those things. That's not what that is. It's something else. And I mean, if you support the consolidation of power into the executive branch, taking away power from the judicial and the legislative branch, I'm not saying you can't do that. Like, that's a position that exists. But the thing is like, own up and stop calling yourself a constitutionalist, American, Republican, conservative type, because that's not what that is. You're talking about completely reshaping and revamping American politics, going from being a representative constitutional democracy, a republic, into something completely different. There's no democratic value in having all the power conceded to the executive branch. That's not what that is. In a lot of other democracies, liberal democracies, they have even more representation. You have different parties that have lead role representations. And in other democratic institutions. And as a republic, we only have Congress and the Senate, and most of our representation is either you got the Democrats and the Republicans, and both sides just kind of represent different factions of right-wing political thought. One is neoliberalism, one used to be more classical liberalism, and conservative type values. And the Democrats are slowly moving closer to actually being on the left. They're still not even centrist. And the Republicans moving further right. So that's not much of representation when you have a one party system with two different names that's just only kind of vaguely different. Well, now they're really different because of how far right the MAGA crowd has moved. But the Democrats are the closest to the left you can get, and so that's why when you get a Democratic Socialist, they go under the umbrella of the Democrat Party. Even though, like, they're still registered as independents. Like, you look at AOC and Bernie Sanders, they are independents because they're not actually Democrats. They're not neoliberal. They're not centrist. They're Democratic Socialists. The White House blames Democrats for not accepting the GOP spending measures called a continuing resolution. We did not want Democrats to shut down the government. The administration wanted a straightforward and clean CR to keep the government open. So the Democrats didn't shut down the government. The Republicans shut down the government because they didn't want to agree to what the Democrats were asking and just shut it down, and then tried to blame the Democrats. And this is all just like a stunt to try to shift the blame of the shutdown on the Democrats. And the Democrats are literally sitting up there saying, reopen the government and come sit down with us so we can negotiate. And they're like, nope. And then saying, oh, it's all the Democrats' fault. But the Republicans, they have the House, they have the Senate, they have the executive branch, the president, they have even the judicial branch. They've stacked the Supreme Court, and they're saying, this handful of Democrats somehow have all this power, and the only person who's been actually over exceeding their power is on the Republican side with Trump, and like wiping his butt with the Constitution. I mean, what do you mean? The Democrats, like, they have so much power. They have power even when they have a minority. Like, it doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. And so this cute little thing that they're doing, this stunt of where they're like, no, it's all the Democrats. It's like, if you really sit down and think about it rationally, logically, it's like they don't have the power. They don't have the majority. It's the Republicans that have the majority in the House, the Senate, the executive branch, the judicial branch, and even in local electoral, like, public offices, they have the majority. Not the Democrats are not a majority right now. So, but apparently they have so much power that just, a handful of Democrats can shut down the whole government. Yeah. If you really believe that, I have a unicorn, and if you would like, I will sell this unicorn. It's really beautiful. It's got like rainbow colored fur and stuff, and it poops ice cream. I'll sell it to you for $1.6 million. Okay, so the exact same proposal that the Democrats supported just 6 months ago and 13 times under the Biden administration. Unfortunately, Democrats have chosen to shut down the government because they think demanding free health care for illegal aliens, and illegal aliens don't get free health care. Illegal aliens can, like, even somebody who is here legally, who migrated here legally, does not qualify for any of our social programs. Some states will allow, like, some level of medical care. But, like, if you've even migrated here legally because you have not paid into the Social Security system, your whole working life, you cannot get disability. You do not get HUD. You do not get. I don't even think you can get retirement. So, like, this whole they want healthcare for illegal aliens. It's all made up. They want to make sure American citizens, all American citizens, legal American citizens, that they have access to health care. And that because if the Democrats do not get what they are asking for, literally, your health insurance premiums are going to double, if not triple. and even count, that doesn't even figure in the cost of the increased of cost of out-of-pocket for healthcare. Has nothing to do with illegal aliens. Like, they just pulled that out of their butthole. They're like, illegal aliens. That'll get people on our side. Is more important than paychecks for workers and benefits. That is a fallacy. That is an appeal to emotive force. They're trying to and actually the Democrats are not taking away the paychecks. That's Donald Trump. Donald Trump has came forward and said he doesn't want to pay the people. He doesn't want to even give them back pay, except for the branches of government that support him, like people in the DOJ and ICE members. They're getting back pay. They're getting paychecks. No one else is. And he's even planning on laying a lot of those people off. But we're not going to talk about that, are we? No, we're just going to say the Democrats want to watch people suffer. Said no Democrat ever. The Democrats can reopen the government at any time. No, they can't. That's up to the Republicans. They're literally sitting up there waiting, and the Republicans are like, nope. Democratic leaders say it is a lie that they are seeking free health care for undocumented immigrants, noting the undocumented people are not eligible for the subsidies they want to extend, and they're not. 2 weeks into the shutdown, some congressional leaders have begun predicting it could set a record for intractability. It is perhaps no accident that the longest shutdown before now occurred in Trump's first term, when partisan tensions were also high, a 34-day standoff over the border wall that began in December 2018 and extended into January 2019. We are barreling toward one of the longest shutdowns in American history unless Democrats drop their partisan demands. House Speaker Mike. So you basically don't want the Democrats to be Democrats. You want them to be fucking Republicans. Like, that's stupid. Like, who? That's just dumb. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah, minority. Democrats are the minority. Yeah, but they have all this power, supposedly. Says Republicans cannot be trusted to respect those demands. They can't. I mean, they've been breaking all kinds of laws. They've been, violating the Constitution. They've been gerrymandering the shit out of various places. They've been trying to take voting rights away from people. I mean, they've hurt the farming community. They've hurt the farmers. Farmer suicides are up. I actually got an article about that. Like, how can you trust Republicans at this point? There's definitely no reason to ever trust a Republican, particularly as it relates to healthcare issues and the Affordable Care Act. I mean, they've said that they wanted to gut these things. Like we will be on our own. I don't know what we will do. Like people are not thinking this through who are standing on the side of Republicans wanting to do this. Like I said, even Marjorie Taylor Greene is like, no, this is too far. That should say something to people. Like that's a canary in the coal mine. It died. We need to get out of the coal mine. We're gonna die. There's a gas leak. I don't know how this is just going over people's heads. I don't understand it. If the lack of trust bodes poorly, so do the party's internal dynamics. Senate Minority Leader Charles E. Schumer agreed in March to a different GOP spending measure, only to see some Democrats attack his leadership and raise the prospect of a primary challenge that gives Schumer a powerful incentive not to bend this time. yeah, Schumer has very much disappointed many people, many Democrat voters, but many people on the left. Schumer just fucking blows. Ezra Levin, co-founder of the activist group Indivisible, said his group is actively using its members to put pressure on Democrats to hold the line, calling congressional offices and making their views known in other ways. Or mode right now is our mode right now, I guess mode, we are cheerleaders playing the role we can. Everyone has a role to play, and that is what we can do. Yeah, as people, I don't know. I don't know that there's much we can do. It's just kind of like with the farmers, saying like, oh, nobody has any sympathy for us and tell us to vote differently next time. But the thing is like, for people on the left and pro-democracy people who vote Democrat, what do you want us to do? I mean, we campaigned. Kamala Harris isn't some radical leftist. She would not meet democratic socialist wants and desires, but one thing, like one of the things that irritates me on the left is there's some leftists that were with massive audiences telling people don't vote, do like a protest vote, don't vote, and teach those dirty Democrats a lesson, because the left has been wanting, like universal health care. We need the cost of housing to come down significantly. Like it's like tons, like the homelessness rates are rising every year by like 12%. It's crazy. And you get these neoliberals in office that are like, no, I really like companies and I want companies to profit and stuff. And they seem to care more about profit than they do the people. But like with the I would say with the Democrats, at least we wouldn't be in constitutional crisis. We wouldn't be like looking at a Supreme Court that's like, oh, let's federally make conversion therapy legal. And I mean, there's just so many things that are going on that wouldn't be happening. We'd be in a lot better position, safe. Like we'd be coasting, like not much would have changed. But we'd be a lot better off if in that predicament than our entire system just kind of falling apart. And you had these leftists telling their audience to protest vote because the Democrats didn't want to move far left enough. They continued the budget for like Israel and its genocide on Gazans and that made them mad, and I understand that. But it's like, I think a lot of the Republicans would unapologetically, like you can have a conversation about that with a Democrat, but I don't think you can have that conversation with a Republican. They will unapologetically give Israel more money and even say like, yeah, let's do a genocide, and like unapologetically and unironically just be completely for that and not care. Whereas, like, the Democrats, I think you could actually have pressured them not to do that and to tell Netanyahu, you're done. But no, we didn't get that. And these big leftist YouTubers, it's like that protest vote, it caused a lot of people not to even come out and vote at all. Being that this is not civility politics, this is not politics as usual, I think that was a really bad decision. It's just like, so you would rather hand over our government system, our politics on a silver platter to fascists, far right, very, very far right political ideas, rather than a neoliberal who you might actually be able to have a conversation with and convince. I'm not seeing the rationale in there. Okay. Matt Gorman, a Republican strategist, said Democrats' defiant posture during the shutdown is winning them praise for progressive activists for the first time since Trump took office. Oh, that reminds me of what I was saying about the farmers. I think a lot of leftists do have sympathy. I mean, like, solidarity with community is very important to the left. Farming is very important to the left. We like farmers. We need food. A lot of leftists like the idea of like farm to table type idea. We're not going to get that if we don't have farmers. And the thing is I don't know what do you want the left to do? The damage is already done. You voted this thing into office. He's doing his thing that we screamed from the rooftops, not just people on the far left, but even centrist, moderate, neoliberal types were saying no, you don't want to do this. Bad idea. It's going to hurt a lot of people. It's going to be really bad. We just don't know what level of bad it's going to be. A lot of people can end up losing their home, becoming homeless. A lot of people are going to die from this. This is going to be bad. We just don't know how bad it's going to be. But we said all this, like the far left was saying it, aside from the people wanting to do the protest vote thing, which I almost wonder if they're kind of psyops, like that they're actually conservative and they're just pretending to be leftists, and they're trying to convince leftists to go against their own best interest. But it's like, but to the farmers, it's like, what do you want us to do? There's nothing we can do at this point. Nothing we can do. We're not the ones who put him in office. We didn't vote for him. I've never voted for a Republican in my entire life. The idea to me is you vote Democrat and you always want to try to put in the person that's as close, as far to the left as you can, and hopefully one day we get these things like guaranteed vacations and really kind of restrain capitalism, like and make sure that there's more equity and more of a redistribution of wealth than what's going, like the inequality of wealth in this country has never been so despairingly bad as it is at this point. And now, because of what the Trump administration and the regime is doing, we could be looking at a Great Depression. And like I said, a Great Depression today may look very, 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 very different than the Great Depression back in, the 1920s, 1930s, because of technological advancements. People might still have phones and stuff and social media, but that doesn't mean we're not heading into a depression. And it's going to damage a lot of people's lives. So I don't know what to tell the farmers. I don't want their suicide rates to go up. I don't want them to go bankrupt. I want them to be able to farm. We like food. I don't know what they think we can do about it. The damage is done. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. We're all geniuses in retrospect. I don't know what you want us to do. And now, he considers basically anyone to the left of him of Trump, which I mean, apparently Mike Pence is to the left of him, to be domestic terrorists. So what do you want us to do? I don't think anybody wants to watch our democracy or democratic political structures crumble. We can work with a Democrat. We can negotiate with a democratic political structure. You're not going to be able to negotiate with a fascist structure. And that's one of the concerns that I have for people on the right is they're not going to know how bad things are until they get so bad that you can't ignore it anymore. It caps them in the knee. And by the time things get so bad that they're bad enough to actually be considered bad, will be so much in the mire, in the thicket of it, that we may not be able to even be able to do anything about it at that point. So it very well may be, if you want to keep a constitutional representative democracy, republic, democratic political structures, and a constitution, and not answer to a dictator, very well may be the last line of defense to save our democracy, our system of government, the American experiment, is the midterms. And if we don't save it then, that may be the end of the American experiment. Dead. This is the first time in a year the far left base hasn't been screaming at Democrats. It's like the old saying, the best part of an elephant stepping on your foot is feeling when the elephant stops stepping on your foot. Why would Democrats stop? Their base, for once, isn't foaming at the mouth, screaming obscenities towards them. I don't know about that. But Republicans, especially those in the White House, also appear to see little reason to change course. Closing parts of the government is not a problem for the Trump administration, but a centerpiece of its agenda. Long before the shutdown, Trump was seeking to close down agencies and firing thousands of federal workers. I don't think the Trump administration, and perhaps even the Republicans in Congress, have the same sort of anxiety about shutdowns as earlier administrations. In effect, they have been conducting their own shutdowns for 6 or 7 months. Lawrence, who is also a historian, said that while it is ostensibly congressional Republicans who are negotiating with Democrats, it is actually Trump who is calling the shots on the GOP side, and he does not have the same incentive to reach a deal as Republicans who face an election next year. The Congress is sided to some extent, even though it's their role to come up with a solution. It's difficult to do that when the administration is in charge and the administration is not feeling the heat. Far from it. I think Trump enjoys exercising the executive power. Most definitely. Several potential catalysts for a deal have been taken off the table. Trump recently ordered that paychecks be sent to military service members. See, I told you. He's paying the people he likes. He's giving back pay to the people he likes. The person who is keeping people from pay and keeping people from back pay and laying people off is not the Democrats. Trump is actively making that decision of his own accord. And then they're saying, oh, it's the Democrats. Polls have yet to show voters overwhelmingly blaming one side or the other, so neither party faces pressures to change course. An Economist YouGov poll released Tuesday showed that 39% of Americans blame Trump and the GOP for the shutdown, while 33% fault the Democrats, a relatively small margin. and one that has narrowed in recent days. And part of that is to blame on mainstream media because they are not really pointing out how Trump and the Republicans and what they're doing and speaking truth to power, unfortunately. Most of that is coming from independent people on social media. So I suppose that is the plus side to people doing this on social media, is that they are the ones calling out and saying, no, the Republicans are the ones doing this. No, Trump is the one not wanting to pay people and not wanting to give back pay and laying people off, not the Democrats. They're not the ones doing it. The Democrats are totally up there willing to reopen the government and sit down with the Republicans, and the Republicans are the ones saying no. The split among the population at large leaves more clout in the hands of impassioned believers on each side. The bases of both parties are operating on nuclear energy right now. That is where most of the activism and motivation is. Yeah. So, again, all these articles will be in the description. I'm going to move on to the next one because really this shutdown is nothing new, and I kind of want to see these comments. What is... More than 24 million people have ACA health insurance, a group including farmers, ranchers, small business owners, and other self-employed people who don't have other insurance options through their work. Even if you have private insurance, your premiums are going to go up because they help subsidize those private insurance. That's one of the things that's backwards in this country, is that if we just got rid of the health insurance companies, we wouldn't be subsidizing multi-conglomerate corporations with billions and billions and billions of dollars. We would be subsidizing the American people. You would just walk into a healthcare facility and get treated. That's the advantage of a single-payer tax system for healthcare. That's the advantage. You cut out these people who are like, we need to make a profit, so we're going to charge you a bunch of money for health insurance, but we're not going to cover anything because that means we would have to spend the money instead of making it profit. It's not about whether or not you're healthy. They're not incentivized by your health. They're incentivized by making profit. So they actually make more profit by you being unhealthy because then you have to pay them more money. The enhanced premium tax credits set to expire this year have made costs far more manageable for many of them, allowing some lower income enrollees to get health care with no premiums and higher earners to pay no more than 8.5% of their income. The tax credits expire. Annual out-of-pocket premiums are estimated to increase by 114%, an average of $1,016 next year, according to the KFF analysis. And this person said, are there any military retirees on this site that are now more than thankful they used 20 or more years of their life to obtain very good health care benefits when they retired? I have to thank my wife for encouraging me to remain on active duty, as I had plans to leave the military after 4 years. Thank God I stayed in course. So they're taking advantage of the health care that they get from that because they're screwed. They can stay shut down for all I care. The longer Congress is not in action, the less damage they do. Okay. Anyway, on to the next argument. So this is about the boats in Venezuela by Reuters. I like Reuters. They're okay. Exclusive U.S. carries out new strike in Caribbean, and there are survivors, U.S. officials say. So they found survivors from these attacks. So we can get a little bit more information. Were they drug boats? Probably not. The U.S. military carried out a new strike on Thursday against a suspected drug vessel in the Caribbean, and in what appeared to be a first, there were survivors among the crew, a U.S. official told Reuters. The official who spoke on, talk about shoot first and ask questions later. Man, like, this just flies in the face of decency. Like, these white supremacists think they're the masters of civility, and it's like they're the master race. It's like you have no concept of civility, these fucking people. Shoot first, ask questions later. You just killed like a bunch of innocent civilians, like a bunch of children no longer have fathers because of you or whatever, and you guys are patting yourselves on the back. It's disgusting. The official who spoke on condition of anonymity did not offer additional details about the incident, which has not been previously reported. The Pentagon did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Remember, Pete Hegseth set it up to where news outlets don't have the access to information that they used to. So that sucks, because if they did, we might be hearing about these people who didn't get killed, and we could hear more information about the people who were actually on the boat. You know, of course, Pete Hegseth doesn't want the media to find out about that, because we're going to find out, they weren't drug dealers, they weren't drug boats, and the United States participated in bombing innocent civilians from another country who were just fishing. That's what he doesn't want people to know. That's my opinion. I don't know if that's true. We need more information. Hopefully this will divulge some information. Prior to Thursday, Operation U.S. military strikes against suspected drug boats off Venezuela killed at least 27 people, raising alarms among some legal experts and Democratic lawmakers who question whether they adhere to the laws of war. They do not. The Trump administration argues the United States is already engaged in a war with narco-terrorist groups from Venezuela, making the strikes legitimate. That's not a legitimate cause to be killing people. And again, there's no proof, there's no evidence that they were smuggling drugs. Like I said, shoot first, ask questions later is not how we do things. You need to prove that they are carrying drugs before you can even attempt such a thing. And I do not think drugs are a good enough reason to be killing people. And I don't like this in the first place. Like, just personally, I don't mind drugs coming into the country, because I hate to tell you, America is a country of drug users. Okay, Americans like to do drugs, and it's an active choice and decision that we make. And these wars on drugs have never worked. It just turns people who aren't criminals. It's still turning things that aren't crimes into criminality still creates real criminals. And the thing is like, just because somebody does drugs doesn't mean they're a bad person. And people like doing drugs. I don't have a problem with people doing drugs. I really don't. I think this war on drugs needs to fucking end. Videos presented by the Trump administration of previous attacks showed vessels being completely destroyed, and there have been no prior accounts of survivors. The strikes come against the backdrop of a military buildup in the Caribbean that includes U.S. guided missiles, destroyers, F-35 fighter jets, a nuclear submarine. That's a bit overkill. They're like the F-35 fighter jets and nuclear submarines for some fishing boats. Around 6,500 troops as President Donald Trump escalates a standoff with the Venezuelan government, which some people speculate that he just wants to install a stock puppet government in Venezuela so we can steal their oil. That's what some people speculate. I don't know. On Wednesday, Trump disclosed he had authorized the Central Intelligence Agency to conduct covert operations inside Venezuela, adding to speculation in Saracas that the United States is attempting to topple Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Yeah. And we have this one by Politico. Top admiral steps down abruptly amid drug boat strikes. This is not a good sign. If an admiral is stepping down about this, it means that the likelihood that these are unlawful, unethical war crimes, really, it stands to be a pretty good reason that they are when an admiral is stepping down. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Thursday announced that the top military official overseeing military strikes against alleged Venezuelan drug runners will retire at the end of the year, a surprising move given that the four-star admiral took command less than a year ago. Admin Alvin Halsey, abrupt departure as head of the U.S. Southern Command, which oversees U.S. military operations in Latin America, comes as President Donald Trump has conducted lethal strikes against alleged Venezuelan drug trafficking vessels in the Caribbean Sea. U.S. forces have destroyed at least 5 boats since early September, killing more than 24 people. And Trump this week floated the idea of conducting land strikes against Venezuelan cartels, though he offered no details. Hegseth, who announced the retirement in a post on Twitter, did not give a reason for Halsey's departure or immediately name his successor. He thanked Halsey, hailed him as having exemplified the highest standards, and said he demonstrated unwavering commitment to mission, people, and nation. In a statement issued by Southern Command, Halsey said he'll retire December 12th, but didn't elaborate on the circumstances of his departure. But the praised Southern Command personnel for their, he praised the personnel, lasting contributions to the defense of our nation. The sudden change at Southern Command is the latest shakeup for the military senior ranks under the Trump administration. The Joint Chiefs Chair, General C.Q. Brown, and Navy Chief Admin Lisa Ferracchetti were fired in February, along with top legal officers across the services in April. Cyber Command Chief General Timothy Hugh was dismissed. This is really depressing. Like, this is really just unfolding that he's really just fixing the military so he can get away with whatever he wants to get away with. Okay. Here's the one about farmers. Politico. Again, this is Trump promised farmers a bailout. Time is running out. And President Trump promised a bailout for farmers, reeling from the effects of his tariffs and the high costs for fertilizer and equipment. But the money hasn't come, and time is running out before farmers have to make crucial decisions about next year's planting season. Yeah, and I really tried to look for so these farmers talking about this have been rampant all over social media, from TikTok to Facebook to YouTube to, I mean, all of them. And they've been talking about it for a while. I was really hoping to find these sort of short videos. I
grew up believing that the backbone of America is our farmers. Folks who rise before dawn, sweat in the fields, and raise food that puts dinner on our tables every night. But right now, American farmers are being squeezed, not just by Mother Nature, but by major policy mistakes made by Donald Trump. In North Carolina, farmers are seeing tariffs hit them like a double whammy. Their costs for feed, fertilizer, and equipment are soaring, while their export buyers are vanishing. Tariffs are hurting farmers in the short term by driving up input costs, but they also cut deeper over time, forcing family farms into debt while corporate giants swallow up more of the market. Take MAE Farm Meats in North Carolina. Owner Mike Jones says that importing minerals, soybean meal, and even feed from overseas comes with added tariff costs that cut directly into his margins. Or Rainbow Meadows in Snow Hill, where Sandra Garner tells us her costs for everything from animal feed to packaging containers are creeping upward week after week. Then there's the export side. China has canceled orders of U.S. soybeans, pork, and other products. Tariffs, retaliation, trade wars doing what they always do. Punish those who had no role in starting them. And this isn't theoretical. It's real dollars and debts. In western North Carolina, after Hurricane Helene, farmers like Jason Davis had flood damage, washed out soils, roads ripped up, and now he's stuck under a mountain of debt, waiting on delayed federal relief just to recover. Some farmers are literally selling equipment or considering giving up their farms altogether just to make ends meet. But these are hard-working folks putting food on our tables, not commodities for Wall Street to gamble on. Here's what I believe. Our government should work for these farmers, not against them. We need to reform trade policy so we don't use tariffs like a blunt hammer. We need to ensure relief funding is fast, fair, and actually reaches...
Okay, so that's a guy that I really wanted to find the farmers who spoke about it themselves. For some reason, finding it, them is difficult. There's this one.
To say we voted for this is so short-sighted because the tariffs that have destroyed our soybean market are just the straw on the camel's back that's going to break them down to the floor. This has been going on for decades across parties. It hadn't mattered who's been in office. This corporate consolidation and these companies taking advantage of us has just gotten worse and worse and worse, and neither party has done anything about it. And also, nobody voted for a tariff. You know, the reason people vote is so broad and so nuanced. You know, that's just a silly statement to make. So, I don't put much stock in what the public says about stuff like that because they don't know what farming's like. Most of them had never been outside of a grocery store. They don't know what we're doing out here. And, and social media just brings out, it amplifies the worst of us. So,
True.
I don't think the general consensus in the public is that, but the loud voices that get amplified for engagement, they're the ones that we see. So I don't know that the full sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, this guy though, he can't deny that Trump exacerbated the situation like you wouldn't believe. Like I just think that not acknowledging that is naive at best. Let's see, we also had this. Let's see.
I mean, we farm about 3,500 acres. We are going to be so far in the red.
We've got a real disaster with this tariff deal. I mean, for the first time in 20 years, China's bought 0 soybeans and 0 new crop corn out of this country. From 12 billion to 0.
I farm 800 acres by myself. I can't afford any help. I farm with paid for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old. And I can't hardly make this deal work.
I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
5 of my customers have committed suicide. That's how serious that this is.
When are you going to stand up for us instead of kissing his ass for these trade deals?
Best case scenario for this year. That we never have to talk about tariffs again.
So, I mean, I think this guy's being kind of naive on that, but again, these farmers, they and and it's going to be quite a strain on the taxpayers to bail them out. I mean, whatever reason you voted for Trump, that's one of the topics he talked about. And we knew this. It happened the first term when he did this. Like, what did you? I don't. What is this? Let me open that up in a new tab somewhere. So I don't know that that's an excuse of, oh, I didn't vote for Trump over the tariffs. Whatever reason you did. That was something he campaigned on and something you should have taken into account. Something we all should have taken into account. Most Americans, yeah, they've never been on a farm, but they don't want to see the people who run the farms. Not everyone, like, there are things we do in the city that you probably wouldn't know how to do or want to do. Okay, like we all have jobs, we all do our part and to make society go. We're all the working class here. Don't be divisive. But how can you sit there? How can that guy sit there and say, like, well, I didn't vote for Trump because of tariffs. That's stupid. Well, that's fine that you didn't vote for Trump for tariffs, but whatever reason you did, like it or not, that was something he campaigned and platformed on that we knew was going to negatively impact farmers. And you could say it's a both sides thing, but this wouldn't be happening to the farmers. Like, maybe you'd still have some issues that he was talking about if a Democrat was in office, but not, you wouldn't be going out of business. You'd still have your trade deals overseas. Your shit wouldn't be like skyrocketing in price. So that's just a very naive statement to me. And it's like, I don't. So this is going to be very, very rough on the taxpayers. It's going to be hard on us. And I mean, the thing is like, I think overall, politicians should be concerned about supporting the people in general instead of corporations. Not just farmers, but just people in general. And that goes back to, of like, you know, the healthcare thing and why I advocate for, you know, a single payer healthcare policy. It's about the American people. It's about the working class. It's solidarity and community and not corporate welfare. Like, why are we giving corporate welfare? They have more money and things and lifestyles that the vast majority, like tons, pretty much everyone you meet and know, you're never going to see it, you're never going to live it in your entire lifetime. And instead of worrying about the civilian population, the employer, the working class, and making sure that we have healthcare, food, utilities, and housing, and healthcare, they're more worried about whether or not some multi-conglomerate corporation goes bankrupt because they treated their customers like shit and nobody wants to buy their stuff anymore. Or, yeah, I mean, there's so much economic violence going on. That's the problem when you deregulate everything. Like Javier Milei, what he did, like this shit, it's, I don't know. There's so many problems with it, it's unbelievable. This thing I just pulled up because it said something weird. It's this swastika flagpole. I was like, huh? That's what this is. But that wasn't one of the articles. So this CNN, they're a very both sidesy, I don't know, very bleh media outlet, I would say. But I find this interesting. ICE arrests police officer in Chicago suburb and accuses him of being in the U.S. illegally. And this is him. This is our illegal immigrant that ICE arrested. And here's pictures of him. This is our illegal immigrant that ICE arrested, who is a police officer. Is this him? I wonder what he looks like naked. I'm just kidding. Or maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. I guess you'll never know. ICE agent arrested a police officer Tuesday morning in the Chicago suburb of Hanover Park, accusing him of being an unlawful immigrant from Montenegro. The Department of Homeland Security says the officer, Radul Beautific, overstayed a tourist visa that expired in 2015. According to the department, Beautific was encountered during a targeted enforcement action in ICE's immigration-focused operation in Illinois. The Hanover Police Department shared a Facebook post in August announcing Beautific's recent graduation from the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy, adding that he had started an intensive 15-week field training and evaluation as he continues preparing to serve the Hanover Park community. CNN has reached out to the Hanover Park police for comment and has attempted to contact Beautific. Radul Beautific violated our nation's laws and was living illegally in the United States for 10 years. What kind of police department gives criminal illegal aliens badges and guns? It's a felony for aliens to even possess a firearm. A law enforcement officer who is actively breaking the law. Rodney Craig, the mayor of Hanover Park, said Thursday night that village officials will be monitoring Beautific's immigration proceedings if he's allowed to stay in the U.S. and authorized to work. He will be returning to full duty status at the police department, Craig said at a municipal meeting. This is what I mean by CNN. Like, I feel like there is so much being kept out of this. Like, we're not going to talk about, like, there is an angle here where there's a lot of white supremacists that were happy about this immigration crackdown because they don't like brown people. And it's like, well, they're doing it to white people too. So there's that angle. There's the angle of, like, are we asking if this is fact? Like, is he literally here illegally on an expired visa, or is that something they made up? Because we've seen that happen over and over again of actual people here legally being rounded up. And they're not talking about any of that in this article. And it's something I brought up too, is on the illegal migration thing. A lot of people do not consider how many illegal migrants are here from European countries that are white. And there's a lot more than people would think. And they're just going after people who are they've even arrested people from Puerto Rico. So it's like that's a U.S. territory. Like, they're U.S. citizens. What the fuck? This whole thing has just been a mess. I encourage all of our residents to gather all available facts before forming their own opinion as to whether hiring the officer was appropriate. I can tell you with the utmost confidence it was appropriate. First and foremost, the village and police department conducted its own thorough due diligence as part of his hiring process as a case within the hiring of all police officers. Isn't that the thing? Like, if you're a police officer, you have to go through an extensive background check. It goes on to talk about that. Background checks performed by the FBI in Illinois. So the FBI did a background check on him and said he was fine, but he's an illegal immigrant. And also, if he's an illegal immigrant, based on the relevant information that we have, that would mean that Trump's whole family are illegal immigrants that should be deported. Because they're saying the same thing with this guy that they're claiming. Well, that's Trump's wife. That's actually a couple of Trump's kids too, I believe. But we're not going to talk about that. If Officer Beautific did not hold federal work authorization, he would not have been hired. In September, ICE agents arrested the superintendent of Iowa's largest school district, accusing him of being in the country illegally since the early 2000s. The superintendent was later charged with separate firearm offenses. You see, CNN just kind of sucks. They're so both sidesy. They don't. If there's facts that are like, oh, I don't know, this fact makes us a little uncomfortable, we might feel the wrath and ire of Trump, we shouldn't post it, and delicate and gentle, and don't stir the pot too much. Yeah, fuck you, CNN. So this, I read an article about this yesterday. I didn't do this yesterday, the news live streaming thing yesterday. Alaska got hit by some storm, and it caused like massive damage to a town.
Devastation, traffic flooding, storms and catastrophic.
And it was real bad. This isn't like political or anything. It's just kind of current event news, and just. No, this is happening now in Alaska. They're getting hit with storms that are destroying entire towns. Global warming isn't real, you guys, and climate change is not real. But this is all normal. It's all normal. It's normal that it's 90 fucking degrees in the Midwest in October, where the leaves haven't even started changing color. They're still green. It's like 50% fucking humidity outside. Never mind that, when I was a kid, I remember like sleet and ice rain and 30-degree weather, but fuck that. 90-degree weather is totally fucking normal in October. That's perfectly fine. That's sarcasm if you couldn't tell.
Devastating storms and catastrophic flooding have left a trail of destruction in western Alaska and have forced hundreds to evacuate. As CBS's Carter Evans reports, entire communities are now considered uninhabitable.
Images coming in from western Alaska show widespread flooding and devastation, entire communities seemingly underwater. This is the village of Kipnik. When the typhoon slammed the coastline, homes were ripped from their foundations and washed out to sea, some with people still inside.
Wow.
Nicholas Mills watched it happen.
They had to climb out of their bedroom window aboard a boat.
This part of Alaska is so remote that by the time rescuers flew in Sunday, people had to be plucked from their rooftops by helicopter.
This was the perfect setup to drive the most amount of water in living memory into these communities.
Rick Toman is a climate specialist with the University of Alaska Fairbanks.
Nearly the entire towns are less than 10 feet above the high tide line, and there's no higher ground anywhere nearby.
Hundreds had now been flown to temporary shelters more than 500 miles away from their flooded coastal villages.
It sounds like people are going to have to find some long-term emergency housing.
Absolutely. The reality is there's going to be hundreds of people with nowhere to go for at least many months.
Tolman also says federal budget cuts to the National Weather Service have reduced the number of weather balloons released in the area.
Does it concern you that we're not getting this detailed weather data?
Absolutely. Here in Alaska, there's an old saying, weather is not small talk. Weather is often life and death.
Now, for this flood, weather warnings did go...
So, yeah, cool. Trump administrative decisions, Elon Musk and RFK Jr. and all that, like, it's literally coming at the cost of human lives, of American human lives. Isn't that just amazing? Like, people are dying from it, families breaking up. Yeah. I know economics are such a boring fucking topic, but we have this. I have no idea what they mean by this. Wall Street credit worries intensify after Dimon's cockroach warning. I don't know what they mean by cockroach, and probably some weird internal term that like all these economists, like people at Wall Street use to refer to something. I mean, we don't. Let's find out. I have
First Brands, an auto parts maker behind names like Fram and Autolite, and Tricolor, a subprime auto lender and dealership chain, have both filed for bankruptcy, shaking confidence in a corner of finance that had seemed stable. According to the New York Times, billions of dollars in loans to First Brands have effectively vanished, revealing off-balance sheet borrowing and double-counted invoices that blindsided banks and private credit funds. Jefferies, UBS, and BlackRock are among those with exposure. The fallout is now forcing investors to re-examine everything from leveraged loans to collateralized loan obligations, often called CLOs, as questions mount over who else might be holding risky money. Now, JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon is weighing in, saying on a call with analysts that his antenna went up after seeing what's happening with Tricolor and First Brands. In his words, I probably shouldn't say this, but when you see one cockroach, there are probably more. Dimon admitting JP Morgan's exposure to Tricolor was, quote, not our finest moment after a $170 million charge-off last quarter. There's no concrete proof that this is something systemic yet, but the fear is clear. If two mid-sized failures can ripple through Wall Street's massive private credit market, investors may soon demand far more transparency before the next domino falls.
Okay, that's kind of concerning.
I just spent the last half hour with the coolest guy in school.
Stop it. Hold on. Okay, there we go. It's so if my understanding, they mentioned BlackRock. Like if BlackRock bursts, do you know how devastating that will be? Like the idea that we could be heading towards a depression, reaffirmed by such a thing. If BlackRock goes kaboom, bankrupt, considering all the housing market that BlackRock has bought up, all the energy facilities in various places that BlackRock has bought up, a lot of places could end up losing their energy. You just won't have electricity anymore. I'm not sure what this means exactly, but it doesn't sound good. I mean, I don't know. You look at all these stock things, like everything is just fucking tanking. Everything is tanking. Our economy is so screwed. Oh man. Now I want to get back to this weird Capitol Police are investigating after an American flag with a swastika was seen in an Ohio GOP congressman's office. Wow, people actually... Do the Republicans care about this? I mean, after all the fucked up things they've been doing? Representative Dave Taylor condemned the vile and deeply inappropriate symbol spotted in a cubicle and described the incident as vandalism. A Republican congressman says that the U.S. Capitol Police are investigating what appeared to be an American flag altered to include a swastika that was seen displayed inside his Washington, D.C. office. Like, you in the Republican Party, you in the wrong party if you're concerned about that, because that just seems to be like the trend that your party seems to be going in. Like, I'm just saying. I mean, did you? There was the leaked messages, like that. They were talking about their love for Hitler and stuff like with that. Well, huh? But what about free speech too? Like, does this fall in the category of free speech? Does this irritate the right wing followers? Like, this is interesting. I am aware of an image that appears to depict a vile and deeply inappropriate symbol near an employee in my office. The content of the image does not reflect the values and standards of his office, my staff, or myself, and I condemn it in the strongest terms. But you're completely fine taking away rights of LGBTQIA plus people, women, and BIPOCs. Okay. I bet you he wouldn't be complaining if it was a Confederate flag. Politico published an image of the altered miniature flag, which it said was taken during a virtual meeting on Tuesday. It was pinned to the staffer's cubicle wall alongside other objects, including a congressional calendar and a pocket constitution. Taylor said that he immediately directed a thorough investigation alongside I think that's going a bit too far, like, for, like, some stuff placed on your desk that you're like, I need a thorough investigation. Bring the Capitol Police in here. Like, dude, just get the regular police to investigate it. It's just a... I mean... there is a narrative here where it's just somebody pranking. I mean, it's an offensive symbol and stuff like that, but come on, man, you can just pick it up and throw it in the trash. Like, I don't know. No further comment will be provided until it has been completed. The Capitol Police did not immediately respond to Yahoo's request for comment. An auto replay message for the agency's public information office said that it is considered for routine business during the federal government shutdown. The revelation comes a day after Politico reported that leaders of the Young Republicans political youth organization traded hundreds of racist and sexist messages, joked about the Holocaust, and praised Adolf Hitler in a Telegram group chat. It also comes amid a rise in anti-Semitic incidents across the United States, including threats aimed at lawmakers. In June, Mohammed Sabri Solomon, 45, was charged with federal hate crimes after he allegedly threw 2 Molotov cocktails and used flamethrower to attack people in Boulder, Colorado at a rally supporting the release of Israeli hostages held in Gaza. In May, police say Ellis Rodriguez, 31, fatally shot 2 Israeli embassy staff members as they were leaving the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. Rodriguez was later charged with federal hate crimes. In April, Cody A. Balmer, 38, was charged with setting fire to Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's official residence. According to police, Balmer called 911 and told dispatchers he believed the Jewish governor's stance on the war in Gaza was leading to the deaths of Palestinians. Well, it is. Earlier this week, Balmer pleaded guilty to attempted first-degree murder, arson, and other charges. He was sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison. It is leading to the death of Gazans. We know that. So, I guess I'll add this one to in the description. And, I think we're wrapping up in there. So those are the articles. Let me get this in. My fucking shoulder really goddamn fucking hurts. Holy shit. Should I take my pain meds? Kind of try to be careful with those, They can produce chemical dependency. Like so many other things do. Most medications do. Especially prescribed medications. But man, I feel like somebody stuck a fucking ice pick into my fucking shoulder area. Like, I don't know. It feels like somebody's trying to rip my fucking arm off. It hurts. Yeah, I'll get that one added in. So the intro was from a band. Well, it was from Beautific Smile. So I really wish I knew more about Beautific Smile. It was a local group, a local artist, and never got copyrighted. It made it onto either vinyl or cassette. And pretty underground. There's within the underground sort of counterculture community here in Kansas City. The people who are aware of Beautific Smile, and there's very few, very, very hard shit to find. It is known that there is a hippie version and a punk version. I have the hippie version, which is acoustic. The punk version is electric, and it's got the full set, drums, bass, electric guitar. I knew someone, an ex-boyfriend of mine, actually, the first boyfriend I ever had, he had a friend, and she had a copy of the punk version, and I begged and begged and begged and begged to trade her. I will give you a copy of the hippie version if you give me a copy of the punk version, which she just, for some reason, never did, and I don't think she understood what it meant to me, because music, art is something that's very important to me, and I just don't think she saw it that way, and she just didn't care. And it's like it sucks, because very, very rare shit, very, very hard to find, and it's quite possible I am the only one left with any copy or of this at all. I don't know anyone else with it. So the intro was, I have no idea what the names of the songs are, because when it was given, it was recorded onto a CD off of either a cassette or a record, and there was no track list, so I'm guessing the names of the song based on the lyrics. But the intro, I call it "I Don't Have to Kiss Your Butt." It's like the main thing, and the outro that I'll be using is T-Bones. It's about masturbation, which is fun. So as I play it, take it all in, because I don't know that you may ever be able to hear it from anyone else ever again, unless I choose to play it again. So you might as well listen to it as the outro plays, because I can't guarantee that you'll ever hear it again. I can't guarantee that. You guys, anyone watching this, you're wonderful. I love you. Be good and kind to each other. Goth and punk rock and stuff. Like, share, subscribe, and comment and things and stuff and things and I'm gonna be heading out, and I'm really thinking about taking something for pain because this fucking hurts. I'll try to tough it out a little longer. I don't know, but you all take care. You're all wonderful. Here you go. Beautific smile, T-bones. Like, share, subscribe, comment, hit bell button, all that stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Peace.
T-bone all alone, smoking a button, sipping from a bottle. T-bone all alone, licking the bottle and sitting on my butt. I put myself up on the shelf cause I have nothing better else to do but sit around and play with myself. I don't really mind, honey, I do it all the time. Give myself a chance to moan, and I don't mind being all alone, no sir. Sipping from a bottle, T-bone all alone, licking the bottle, sitting on my butt. I put myself up on the shelf cause I have nothing better else to do but sit around and play with myself. I don't really mind, honey, I do it all the time. Give myself a chance to moan, and I don't mind being all alone, no. Give myself a chance to grow, and I don't mind being all alone. Hey, I put myself up on the shelf cause I have nothing better else to do but sit around and play with myself.